You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah!
All right, good morning, everybody. It's nice and early. It's Wednesday morning. It's 6 a.m. I got Karen Schoen calling all the way from Greenhead, Florida. We're going to talk a little bit about, I believe, about corporate welfare. A lot of people don't really understand what corporate welfare is. Everybody thinks about Archer, Midlands, Daniels, and big agribusiness, and that's part of it. But we also have corporate welfare that's at a smaller, close at home. What happens locally in your communities, and local, state, and federal government. It's that form where we pick the winners and losers, where the government does it. Good morning, Karen. How are we doing this morning?
We are doing wonderful, and I am in Greenwood, Florida.
No, what did I say?
Greenhead is in Washington County.
That's right. It's
I'm
early.
in Jackson County.
That's right. You used to live in Washington County, and now you
That is
live
correct.
over in Jackson County. And there is a Greenwood, and there is a Greenhead, and you live in Greenwood. And I'll get that straight. But thank you for
Let's keep
straightening
all
out.
those greens. good.
Yes, let's keep Florida green. That's right. That's what we need to do. Boy, I remember that used to be a statement back in the 70s, but it had a different connotation. Keep Arkansas green, but I ain't going to tell you what they used to say at the concerts to keep it green. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is one of the things I see is that how the government picks winners and losers. We see the federal government doing it all the time, like Solyndra. And I love solar power. I think solar power is a wonderful thing. I have it in my business. I have it in my home. I think it's a wonderful thing. But when you start giving money to companies as incentives, and they take the money and don't produce, and you actually go in competition with the local companies, that to me is wrong.
Well, that's really the worst part is the competition with a local company. You're a local entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You've been working in your place. You've been contributing to the community for 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
30 plus years. And how would you feel if the government said, new businesses, this is what Rick Scott is doing,
Mm-hmm.
new businesses, if you come to Florida, we'll give you an incentive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been in Florida for 30 years contributing to the growth and development of Florida.
Right.
What incentive do you have?
I actually get nothing but a slap on the wrist, like going, "How dare you be upset with us?"
So how does somebody? Okay, I have an incentive. I've been incentivized by the government. You haven't. So you know what I'm going to turn around and do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lower my prices.
That's right.
What does that do to you?
It puts me out of business.
Exactly.
Exactly what they do.
Exactly.
Anna Marie, what were you talking about? We had a company that was listed as the most corrupt
Oh,
software
we're talking
company.
about Iserona. Do you remember Iserona, Karen? You've been around long enough in Bay County, I think.
It was probably
No, I think I was down in
Okay.
South Florida at
Yeah,
that
okay.
time.
Well, Iserona was a software company, medical software company, and the Bay County EDA and the Chamber are all back bringing this company in, and the county gave them tax incentives. It was quite a bit of money. And they ended up, after about 6 months, another company bought them, Nanty Health. And I read an article in Forbes magazine. This company was listed as, and it gave Panama City as their office, the most corrupt medical software company in the world.
And that says a lot right
Forbes
there.
magazine.
That
And
does. The sad part is, the government is giving money. Whose money?
It's our
My
money.
money.
It's mine.
It's
our
my money, your money.
We're competing
And
against
I
ourselves.
love it when they say, well, it's not taxes, it's coming from the federal government. Excuse me. How does the federal government make money?
They take it from
They
somebody.
don't take it from you and I.
That's right. They take it at the point of a gun. If you don't pay your taxes, we know what happened to Al Capone.
Exactly.
It happens to all of. I mean, we don't have a debtor's prison. They say we don't, but sure enough, you go to jail if you don't pay your taxes somehow or another.
But you know what else happens, James, when you give someone an incentive and you don't give somebody else, and you favor one over the other?
Yeah.
The person who gets favored, I'm the one that got the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So not only am I going to lower my prices, but I don't really care about the quality of my product because it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I'm getting my profit. That's what I was.
it.
When I was asked, I was interviewed by the Bay County Board of Realtors here. They wanted to, I guess you might want to say, they wanted to vet me to see if I was qualified to be county commissioner. And they asked me what I thought about public-private partnerships, and this is what you're talking about. This is a
Exactly.
public-private partnership. That's another code word for cronyism or corporate welfare. But a lot of people get upset when I say this. But what they're doing, this is the truth. They asked me what I thought about it, and I said, what you end up doing is you end up making a product, and you end up subsidizing it with taxpayers' money, raising the price of the product. Really, it's more expensive that way when you add the taxpayer incentives and all these things that have been put to it, and you end up with a poor finished product that is not what we want. And I said, you're not playing the market game right. You're not making the free market enterprise work like it's supposed to. You're fixing the playing field, picking winners and losers. And this is what contributes to inflation. This contributes to cronyism. And what you're doing is you're corrupting and perverting the law for the intent by picking the winners and losers, by putting special interest groups together to fund your needs. And this is wrong. I think that's called false philanthropy is another name for it. And this
Well,
is,
the other side of the coin is who are the companies that are actually getting the rewards of these money. And when you follow the money
Yep.
trail, you find that they've usually contributed to the politician.
isn't that the truth?
Isn't that a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise. We were looking at the who's who list of donations to people's campaigns out there, and I was just like, holy moly, everybody, this who's who, the shakers and movers in Bay County have contributed to this person's campaign. And I'm going, this is interesting. Too much is given, much is expected. You know that,
Exactly.
I know that. And
Exactly. We've experienced that in District 5 because Brad Drake, and I can tell you firsthand, I ran against him. He accumulated $400,000. I accumulated $10,000. But when I looked at his donor list, most of the donor list was out of state, out of the county, out of the district. And when I go back and I look at his voting record, I'm not surprised to find that he's voted on the side of those people who donated to him. So nothing has changed in the last
that is
2 years.
exactly what I'm trying to tell people out there. If we don't get people out to vote, nothing's going to change. And we have approximately 21% of the voters in Bay County will get out and vote and keep things the same. If it's got an R, they vote R. If it's got a D, they vote D. But it's only around 21% of the voters. And what we've got to be able to do is get people to actually go to the polls and vote. The last day of registration is the 11th of October. And this is going to play, what is the day right here, Anne Marie? Day is the 5th, so 7 days from now will be the 12th. So it'll be, by the time this plays, it's going to be too late if anyone's watching this show to register to vote, because the 11th is the final day to register to vote in Florida. So, but people have got to get out and change the way that things are, because that's what I'm seeing happen out there. We keep electing the same people, the same policies, expecting different results, and we end up with the same exact results. We end up with bigger government. We end up with more taxes. We end up with, when I say more taxes, that's what grows government. Government's got enough money, Karen.
They sure do.
It's the people that don't have enough money. 40 to
That's right.
60% of our money goes away in local, state, and federal taxes. And I tell people that, and they look at me like, I don't believe that. And I say, well, you start figuring out what you have to pay in property tax, what you have to pay in sales tax, what you have to pay in gas tax, what you have to pay in all these taxes. All these together, when it's all said and done.
It's very interesting because take a look at your phone bill, folks.
Oh, yeah. Good example.
I looked at my phone bill the other day. A third of my phone bill are fees, charges, and taxes. And then there's a big fee on there that says the universal fee or the recovery fee.
Yes.
That fee, you know what that fee is paid for? That fee pays for people who have welfare to now get free phones and free internet.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Free.
Nice?
Everybody
So
loves
who's
Santa
paying for
Claus.
it?
Everybody loves Santa Claus.
Right. Who's paying for it?
We are. We're paying for it. And it's the same thing on your insurance policy. You have that, there's a fee they put on there. Everybody has to pay a fee for those that, I can't remember what they called it, but they passed on every insurance policy, if I'm not mistaken, years ago, that you have to pay a fee on top of every insurance policy, an additional for those hurricane disaster. I can't remember.
It's a Citizens.
Is that what they call it? Citizens Bank
Yeah.
fee?
It was a state-run insurance after Hurricane Andrew, because insurance companies pretty much left the state of Florida because of the risk. So the state informed citizens, and that's the fee that you're talking about.
And so, and I know we're still paying it, and it's finally getting. I think it's finally getting some money in there. They're saying, and right in time for a hurricane that's coming that way on the East Coast. Matthew. Matthew. My daughters live in that area over there. They're boarding up. One lives near Boca Raton. The other one lives on Delray Beach. So they're all hunkering down, getting ready for what's going to come. And it may not be anything, and it may be something. We just never know.
Well, it's always better to be prepared than not be prepared. That's the key. If you're prepared, it's easier to take down the shutters than it is to pick up all the glass.
Yeah, put new windows in. That's for sure. That is so true on that right there. But people need to, this is the time of year we get most of our hurricanes from September to November. That's really our hurricane season here in Bay County, Florida, it seems like. And it seems like I remember that we had Eloise on November 22nd, 1975. And that was my first hurricane. And I've had a few hurricanes since that time, but you can prepare and get out of their way a lot of times, but sometimes you just never know what they're going to do.
Well, we have to be prepared for massive changes in the weather, because when you read the articles, and of course, if you're not going to read the articles about the climate deniers and all of that other garbage, that doesn't mean anything. Go and read what's actually happening. And what's happening is they're finding that the sun is lacking activity. There's no solar spots. There's no solar storms. There's nothing. And when that happens notoriously, as it did 200 years ago, everything gets extremely, excruciatingly cold. And now they're predicting that by 2019, we could be facing a mini ice age. So, does it matter whether it's going to be excruciatingly cold, hot, a hurricane, or whether it's going to be, whatever it is? We need to prepare.
We absolutely always be a good Boy Scout. Be prepared, or Girl Scout too. I think that's the motto of the Girl Scouts too. Is be prepared.
Motto.
It is.
I loved it.
And
it ages a lot. And see, these are the things that are supposed to be taught in school that aren't, because we're busy giving out trophies for coming to school.
That's right. And the dumbing down of America continues. Stay tuned.
Exactly.
Stay tuned for more exciting coverage.
Incentives and the fact that we can't afford to go out and give these companies that are meaningless, that are shell companies, mostly written on paper because they had a good plan and they donated to the right person, our money to create a business that doesn't and shouldn't exist.
That's exactly right. Karen, we got to go. We're up against the clock right here. I love talking to you. You're so full of knowledge out there. Thank you so much. We'll be talking to you again next week. I got Stephen Lang calling all the way from Powder Springs, Georgia. So we got him, and I'll talk to you later. Be right back.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.